Just finished watching the West Ham Chelsea game an hour ago, and to be honest, the second half was a complete snooze fest because the game was pretty much done once Chelsea took the lead. And it's quite sad, really, because for the start of the game, like obviously West Ham opened scoring with a wonder strike from Paqueta, but I think that was more so Sanchez's mistake because he stepped the wrong way, which lost his momentum for the dive. Nevertheless, it was a good shot. But the real thing is, because when João Pedro equalised from a poor conceded corner, um, and through the goals for Chelsea were from corners, so West Ham definitely need to fix up there with their set piece defending. But West Ham actually went 2-1 up through full crew, which was a really good shot. It was really well worked, but it was offside. Um, I think on Todibo. Not too sure if I can remember, but when West Ham got that disallowed goal, like when they scored that disallowed goal, then you thought like, oh, we have a game, because I think it was like around the 19th minute when West Ham scored, and like the disallowed goal happened in the 19th minute, and then once that disallowed goal got given as disallowed, then Chelsea were just dominant, and then they scored through Neto, which was João Pedro's assist. Um, and then it was like, okay, well, Chelsea are just running rampant. I think everyone expected West Ham to suffer against Chelsea um, because clearly West Ham are not in a good position right now. They lost 3-0 to Sunderland, albeit it is away from home. It is at the Stadium of Light, which is like one of the biggest stadiums in the Premier League right now. But still, Sunderland are a newly promoted team. You should expect West Ham to give a little bit of a fight to them, and they didn't really. Sunderland walked over them, and the same situation came here. Like literally, West Ham fans left after it became 3-1 today. And Fernandez's goal was all Esteval's work, by the way. Esteval did a really good link-up play with Liam Delap, and then he just dribbled straight through the defense, like his side. So I think it would have been Diouf, yeah, because he was running on the right flank, yeah. And then he just sweated it across the box to Fernandez, and Fernandez tapped it in. Caicedo's and Chalba's goal, they were just back to back, and they were back to back corners. And Caicedo's goal, especially, was a mistake from the keeper. He was caught in two minds whether he wanted to punch the ball, whether he wanted to catch the ball, whatever. That is a mistake, and that inherently gives that goal away. And then Chalba just scores, like it was like rebounding across the box, and uh, João Pedro got an assist from that as well for Chalba's goal. But yeah, 5-1. After the fifth goal went in, Chelsea were just toying with them, and the game was pretty much done. Seats were empty. I don't blame West Ham fans, honestly. West Ham, when the third goal went in, they just didn't look like they wanted to play anymore. Um, they were kind of like, okay, like we lost today, let's just go home. Let me go home to my like $1 million house or whatever and just chill, become a footballer. I get paid a lot. So I can understand West Ham fans' frustration for the game. I did think leaving at 3-1 was a bit concerning, especially because it's like 35 minutes into the game and fans are already leaving. I mean, you pay for the season tickets or whatever, you pay for tickets, so it's your money. But still, like, it's a waste of money, really, if you're going to stick around. And then, yeah, once it became 5-1, then you saw it was pretty empty, the stadium. So as we look at the match ratings here, João Pedro is man of the match, according to FootMob. I wouldn't disagree with that, but I do think there's some other contenders. I think both wingers do have a shout. Esteval was brilliant. Obviously, he did provide Fernandez's goal, but he did have like a really bad like a huge goal scoring opportunity that he fluffed. It was when Reece James got subbed on. Reece James played like an exquisite, like a genuinely. You should watch the ball. It was exquisite. It was inch perfect. Like I remember Diouf fell down trying to intercept it, and then Estevao was literally 1-on-1, but he cut into traffic and he completely scuffed it up. But that's pretty much the only thing that I think Estevao really messed up. To be fair, Paqueta's goal was from Esteval's mistake because Esteval tried to flick it through. If the flick went through, then Chelsea were through on goal, but it didn't work out, and that led to Paqueta's long shot. Yeah. So Esteval was good. Neto was good. He worked really hard today. I recall, like I can draw back upon his body on his shoulder to shoulder on Wan-Bissaka when Wan-Bissaka was trying to cross it in, or he was like on the byline near Chelsea's goal. And yeah, Pedro Neto put in a really good defensive shift. Interesting how wingers are now becoming a little bit more defensive now. They have a little bit more defensive duties and responsibilities, and that should be the way because you are a team. You should defend as a team, not be egoists. But still, Neto also provided a lot going forward, even when he went on the right flank towards the end of the game. When Esteval came off for Gittins, and then Gittins went to the left, Neto went to the right. And when Neto was on the right, which is his natural, comfortable side of the pitch, he was getting a lot more runs in, and he was getting by a lot more defenders. And he did want to get another goal at the end, I could tell. But he did get his goal today, so well done to him. I think those three attacking mids, or like the two wingers and João Pedro, I think those are the three standout players for Chelsea. I did think the lab just like he didn't really get involved much. Like he did have that link up play with Esteval for the third goal, but other than that, he didn't really get much service in my opinion. Not much you can really do. Like as long as the team's performing, it's fine. But like I'm sure Liam Delap would be a bit disappointed he couldn't get on the score sheet. Then you have like your two DMs who we'll talk about in a bit in terms of formation. But Fernandez didn't really play as a DM in my opinion. It was mainly Caicedo in the DM, and it was like a 4-1-4-1 formation for Chelsea. They both played pretty well. They both got their goals. Caicedo's goal was West Ham's mistake. Fernandez's goal was obviously the Esteval brilliance. I thought Gusto played pretty well. I didn't really agree with the 6.8. I'm not sure why it's a 6.8. I agree with Sanchez's 6.3 because like that first goal was, man. If West Ham had got that disallowed goal like not written off, and they were 2-1 up, like I think we'd be pointing a lot of fingers at Sanchez. So he's pretty lucky that disallowed goal happened and that he got disallowed. Cucurella played alright. Like in general, Chelsea played comfortably and they could cruise. They were definitely a lot more laid back, and that's when West Ham started to get attacks in the second half. But they weren't coming up with anything really. They weren't coming up with actual pointers, actual goals. West Ham, but they did have the chances because usually the home team they will have their short stint, but that short stint was a bit too late. That short stint literally came when it was 5-1. That short stint of attack on Chelsea's goal was literally after Chelsea had decided and they were done for the day. You know, they had feasted enough. They'd scored their 5. They were happy to relax and chill, and then they subbed off 3 defenders at once: Chalobah, Gusto, and Cucurella. And they brought in Hatter, Fofana. Fofana was horrible, by the way. Wesley Fofana and Reece James. Reece James was good. And yeah, so we can also talk about the substitutes. Oh, sorry, we should talk about West Ham a bit as well. There's not really much to say about West Ham, to be honest. I thought Wan-Bissaka was piss poor. A lot of the 2 of the goals could be blamed on him. The Pedro Neto goal was definitely on him because he didn't track Pedro Neto's run. He did for a bit, and then he just left him to tap it in at the far post. And can't remember which one. I think nah. But he just wasn't showing enthusiasm, Wan-Bissaka, which I expected definitely a bit more from him. I low-key thought Diouf was West Ham's best player because he was showing a lot more commitment than others. I think a lot of these other players were just wanted to go home. Bowen and Diouf, I think they were showing a bit more enthusiasm and effort. Paqueta's obviously here 8.1 because of the goal, but I still don't think he played that well. Ward-Prowse and Souček, they weren't that good. Full crew, you can't really blame him. Like West Ham, he's not getting the service, and he did score his chance, which was disallowed. But yeah, can't really blame him. Obviously, the centre backs were terrible. The defense was shocking, but Diouf was definitely the best defender out of a lot because he provided a lot more attacking wise. Like you can't really count this as assist as a real assist because it was a freak shot, but he was running up a lot more. He was jetting up the pitch a lot more. And he really wanted it, and I'm pretty sure it's like he's new signing, right? He's like, how old is he? He's like, 20 years old. He's young and he wants to prove a point. He's coming to the Premier League, so yeah, fair play to him. I think he's going to be a good player in the future. Just unfortunate that he's currently in the position he is right now. And Hermanson, I think 4.8 is enough to say, he deserves that, let's just say. Looking at the substitutes, quickly glance over West Ham. Freddie Potts was mid. I thought he was alright to start with, and then he gave the ball away a couple of times, and it was just like, bro, what are you doing? Callum Wilson, yeah, he did have opportunities. He did work his way through, especially when West Ham got that like second wind. That's that short stint that I was talking about that home teams always have. Um, but he didn't really capitalize. Kyle Walker-Peters did have a couple of opportunities, I remember, but he was okay. Joining in from Southampton as well. Andre Santos was horrible. I don't know what's up with him. Had to like not much to really say. I didn't really see him that much. I didn't think he was that much of an influence. Reece James, I think Reece James was probably the best substitute out of the lot. I think Fofana, Santos was horrible. Hatter was okay. Gittins was okay. Yeah, Fofana was just like he gave that free kick away to Ward-Prowse. And the thing about I just want to say about like tackling and stuff. Esteval needs to be a little bit more careful because I did see a couple of moments where he was like putting studs up when he was trying to dispossess. It's quite dangerous, and if he had made contact, there is a serious shout for a red card for him. But yeah, apart from that, the main highlight of this game was like Chelsea were just way too dominant, and that's mainly due to West Ham's poor form rather than Chelsea's good form. It was more West Ham's fault rather than Chelsea's success. So yeah, I do expect like if you look at any future matches that West Ham have, we can just quickly have a look here. They have Wolves in the Carabao Cup, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, they have Nottingham, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, Everton. It's going to be rough for them. I expect 4 losses pretty much for them. Maybe a draw against Everton, but Everton are a pretty good side, and you're going away to Everton, so yeah, it's going to be tough for West Ham. They definitely are serious contenders for relegation now. Initially, the start of the season, I thought it would be Wolves, Burnley, and Sunderland that go down. I thought Leeds would stay up, but now I'm thinking like Sunderland look pretty promising. Albeit we'll see how they go against Burnley. But like Burnley, there's 2 promoted teams. We'll see how they go. Sunderland go in there. Who do they have? Brentford. Brentford is kind of. We'll see how they go against Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. How they fare against these teams. So Brentford is also a good shout to see how they go. Because right now I'm thinking West Ham, Wolves, and probably the bottom 3 that is there right now. Maybe Brentford. Brentford. Will, I don't know. Maybe all 3 promoted sides stay up. You never know. It's a lot more close on the relegation side now, but I do think West Ham should be very worried about where they are right now. We'll just quickly go through the formations. We'll start off with West Ham as the home team. On FootMob, they have this 3-4-1-2. Like if you watch my Osasuna's video, the way Osasuna played was also 3-4-1-2, but this was mainly a 5 in the back. Or actually, not necessarily. It was mainly Diouf and Wan-Bissaka had a lot more license to go forward. You did see that Wan-Bissaka was making some runs with the ball. Diouf was trying to get in behind as well. He did have one opportunity, I remember, in the first half where he got in behind. Souček and Ward-Prowse were definitely a bit more deeper. And then Paqueta was a bit more forward. And then Bowen was kind of like hovering here. And then Füllkrug was the main man. I would say Bowen was behind Füllkrug. And then occasionally you get this where Paqueta drifts to a left wing sort of role. And then you have these 4 midfield, these 2 wing backs come back. So you have a 3-4-3 that opens up here. And then in defense, you go back here to a 5. If these guys track back enough, which I don't really think they did. I think Wan-Bissaka didn't really do that much. He was like hovering around here, and then it'd be the responsibility of like a Souček to come in, and fill in, which is kind of weird. Maybe that's what Graham Potter wants, but technically in defense, it should be like a 5-3-2 here. And then when they go up, then it goes to a 3-4-3. That's what I noticed. But to be honest, I wasn't really paying attention with West Ham that much because they didn't deserve my attention. They just didn't look like they wanted to play today. And yeah, So there's gonna a lot of work needs to be done for West Ham, that's for sure. So yeah, I definitely feel sorry for West Ham fans right now because on paper, like this team looks good. Like it's a mid-table team to be honest. On paper, you have Paqueta, Bowen. Bowen's a really good player. If he gets relegated, like he's leaving West Ham. If West Ham get relegated, 100%. Like he's a Premier League player. He should be floating around England, right? The England national team. Fulkrug, he was lighting up with Dortmund, and then he's kind of fallen off a bit. I don't think West Ham was the right move for him. He should have stayed at Dortmund or gone to a different club. That's easier to say in hindsight, right? It's easier to say now that we know what's happening with West Ham. Suchek, Ward-Prowse, they're great midfielders. Like you go back to like COVID times, like they were lighting up the place. Aguerd is good. Kilman from Wolves, he came from Wolves. He's solid, and Tadibo is solid. Hermansen, I don't really know much of. He's a new signing. Same with Diouf. But yeah, this is still a pretty competitive squad, right? When you look at the names, and I think a lot of the blame obviously has to go on the players' mentality because they just didn't look up for it. And although yeah, Chelsea's a really strong side, you still need to give a fight, right? You're at home, you have the fans backing. You can give a good fight to Chelsea. This is literally a London derby, by the way, and they were playing like the way they were playing is just embarrassing. So I'm not going to touch more on them, except like yeah, you had these fullbacks. I think in the modern game now, fullbacks are really important, and they really help provide for the team, and that is complete. That's interesting about the evolution of football and how fullbacks back in the day were just sitting at the back, in that fullback, but now they have to be so much more versatile. They have to be good attacking and defending. We'll go into Chelsea now, and Chelsea, I did touch on this before. Oh, hate when this happens, but they did play a full 4-1-4-1. And Fernandez was maybe you could say a little bit deeper, but he really wasn't. He was making runs into the box. He did have that one shot where he skied, which was horrible. He didn't have much composure there, but it was kind of like this 4-1-4-1. And then, to be fair, when this is, I would say this is the defensive approach. They went to a 4-1-4-1, or they went into like a 4-5-1, like this. So this is how they were defending. When they were defending at like the start of the game, this was when West Ham were actually trying to play. Then afterwards, when they weren't defending, then you had something like this, where I'd say you'd have this sort of high thing. Then you'd have something like it would go into a 3 in the back, and then this right back position is so interesting for Chelsea. So I remember the first half, Gusto was like around here. Like he was really high. He was really, really high, like a winger almost. And you had something like this, I guess. You had something like a 3-2-4-1. And then in the second half, when Reece James was on and Gusto as well, Gusto came in like a false back. He came in here with Caicedo. Then you get this like 3-2-4-1. It's very interesting how Chelsea operate. I don't think so. Cucurella did the left back position wasn't like that. It's all from the right back position, that false back role, and then you have this 3 in the back. And I think that works for Chelsea because West Ham weren't really possessing much of a threat up front, so you can afford to go into this setup. So it was definitely much more easy for them, and they didn't get caught out. But I can imagine against a top team, there's a potential for like a good left winger to capitalize on this open space here, because naturally Cucurella is a bit, his minded is to the left, right? He's left-minded, so yeah, he will go drift there, and then you have this like open space here mainly. Then yeah, so then pretty much that's how Chelsea operated, and then Gusto was, yeah, I'm telling you, like fullbacks in this modern day it's a really good position to play, because you're literally offering everything. You're offering your attacking presence, crossing the ball, even getting in, trying to get shots off. You saw it with like Nuno Mendes, who is Nuno Mensch, who is like the best left back in the world right now, and how he did in Nations League, where he scored that goal in the final. And that's all from like running up, right? This left back running upwards, right back running up, and then they get the ball from the winger, and then they shoot the ball or they pass it in to an attacker, a striker, or a cam. So it's interesting how the fullbacks work. The same situation happened with Osasuna, and I do think fullbacks should do a lot more work when you're playing in a defensive-minded team that goes into a low block, because they, like I said before in my previous video, they make or break the low block. But yeah, in general with Chelsea, I think whoever they have next, let me just quickly check who they have next. But whoever they have next, that will be real competition. Because Crystal Palace, like they drew against Crystal Palace, right? Much better team. So I wouldn't really. They play against Fulham. Is that Carabao Cup? I don't think. Do Chelsea get a skip in the Carabao Cup? Yeah, they do. I think they play Fulham. That's another London clash. And I do think that's a way more competitive game for Chelsea, where you can definitely measure Chelsea and whether or not they can make a charge for the Premier League title. Although it is a bit early and you can be a bit reactionary with these sort of results. Still, you can tell that West Ham are like piss poor. Chelsea are on another level to West Ham, but still, Chelsea definitely need a good team to play against. So they did have Crystal Palace last game, and they did draw 0-0. The goalless affair. So we'll see how they go against Fulham, and then we can make an assumption. But yeah, other than that, I think Graham Potter has a lot of work to do if he wants to keep his job and if he wants to keep West Ham afloat. And it's very concerning because of the amount of quality that West Ham have. If they do go to the Championship, West Ham could be in a lot of trouble, because those players are Premier League quality. But at the same time, you cannot blame Graham Potter that much, because the West Ham players themselves didn't look up for it today. They didn't look up for it once Pedro Neto scored for the second goal for Chelsea. And it was a complete capitulation. It was a complete, it was a catastrophe for Chelsea. Everything crumbled. So yeah, complete implosion. Sorry, not for Chelsea. For West Ham, catastrophe for West Ham. And Chelsea fans are going to be buzzing, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. So yeah, that will be all for this video. And I can subscribe, whatever, if you want to see more. And yeah, have a good one, and peace out. Bye bye.